When you first start singing, you live from day to day. So could the first record went to #2. The second one didn't. It was much lower. So you live very close to the line, so to speak. And then when the first 5 or 10 years was over, I began to think, oh, well, they said I was a one-hit wonder, but I wasn't. They said I was here today, gone tomorrow, and I wasn't. And then you start to think, okay, maybe it could last. But even then, I didn't even know I'd done 100 albums. And I still can't figure out how they counted them up. I know there's a couple of guys that write these books about studio work, and so therefore they can't have got it wrong, lots of people. But it's a combination of studio albums, brand new albums, and of course a lot of compilation albums too. But 100th, who'd have thought that I could ever reach that? A friend of mine, he's always said to me, all right, if you want to do the jazz album, do it. But if you want to do the soul album, do it. But you're a rock and roll singer. I said, what about rock and roll? In fact, he executive produced this album for me. And he gave me a list of songs, and I knew all of them. I loved all of them. I was brought up on all of them. The record company wanted to have a say in it. Their list was pretty well the same, and I threw 3 songs in that weren't on either of their lists that I wanted to do, and they're all iconic pop rock songs. People of a certain age will have grown up with it, and the other people should get together with this stuff. It was the beginnings of all the music we listen to on the radio now. It's how it all started, and it's wonderful. I felt very much in my comfort zone when I was recording it. I did a little sleeve note liner, and I just said, I felt as though it was the 50s, that I was with the Shadows, and I was in Studio 2 Abbey Road. But it wasn't Studio 2, it wasn't the Shadows, and it certainly wasn't the 50s. I was in Nashville, and I was recording live, there with the band, just how the Shadows and I used to sing in the studio in our own little areas, and go 1, 2, 3, 4. And there it was. It was exactly how it was when I started. So I have gone full cycle, but of course, today our recording facilities are so fantastic. It's hard to make a really bad record. You can make a record that doesn't sell well, but it won't necessarily be a bad record. The music is going to be good, the sound is going to be good. So what we've tried to do is pay respects to all these fantastic songs, and hope that it just continues the tradition of rock being the father of all music. Retiring, no, but I do take lift up my feet quite often. I mean, I spend the winters in Barbados where I'm not working, and I spend the summers in Portugal where I'm not working, although sometimes in Portugal there's a tour coming up, so I'm learning songs. But I've given myself more time to free myself of the pressure of live work or even recording, although recording is, to me, it's like being on holiday. Recording is the easiest thing I do. It's the most wonderful, exciting thing. It's followed very closely by, you can't actually explain what live audiences are like, but it's phenomenal to sing. But there's a pressure involved in that you don't know whether your voice will survive 25 concerts. Whereas with recording, if you don't feel good, you don't go and record that day.